Welcome to Short and to the Point, a podcast from the Comeback in Awful Announcing. Here's your host, Jessica Kleinschmidt.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Short and to the Point. Jessica Kleinschmidt here for the Comeback in Awful Announcing. Another fun episode ahead of us. Before I get to that, I just want to thank you all for so much positive feedback over our last few episodes. Philip and I are feeling the momentum. We're so excited over these next few conversations, the previous conversations. So thankful to all of our guests for opening up to us. It's been such a fun last few weeks, and I can't wait to continue that for our upcoming conversations. For our next one, very excited about this one. It is Oshae Jones. Nickname is Suga. She's the 2020 Olympic bronze medalist, Ohio's first Olympic boxer. And she is back on March 29th at OTE Arena in Atlanta, where you can catch the fights on the DAZN app and Overtime social media channels for free. It's a great way for all 100 million followers on their social media apps to bring these fights to you. And you're going to love rooting for her because she's just fantastic. I think I have a new friend, guys. It's a big day for me. It's a very big day for me. So here is my chat with Oshae. As promised, Oshae is here. And Oshae, let's just get right into it because I have so many things I want to talk to you about. First and foremost, you can't talk about you without your Olympic dreams. And not only did you get there, before we talk about your Olympic experience, to be Ohio's first Olympic boxer, a 2020 Olympic bronze medalist, being the first of something, what does that mean to you?
It's being the first. It's just like, I don't know, it's kind of unbelievable because it's believable then unbelievable. It's unbelievable because like I made history, but it's believable because this is what I trained for my whole life. So it actually just came, true.
And it's cool that you say it's believable because that means you're so determined and you have that confidence. From the beginning of your career when you first got started, was the Olympics, was that the main goal, or you just knew you were going to succeed in it?
Well, my father, which was my amateur coach, he always just used to say, we're going to the Olympics, we're going to the Olympics. But me as a kid, I always used to be like, he's just talking. Then when the tournaments came and I was qualifying and I, continuously it got serious, when I qualified for the Olympics. Then after not qualified for the Olympics, I qualified for the Olympic team. Then I had to go overseas and qualify to even go to the Olympics. And I think that's when it really hit me that this is for real.
Okay. And so was that around the time where you knew you were going to make a living off of it, or you can make a career off of it? Because I know you have a family that has boxing in the background, but was there a specific moment where you were in training or something happened where you thought this might be a career I can continue doing?
Well, when I turned elite and I started winning the nationals and I was staying on a team, staying at the Olympic Training Center, you get a stipend for staying there. So once I start getting that stipend,
Let's go.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm in this now. I'm about to get this my all. And then when you go overseas and you place like top 2 or top 3, you get a bonus. So that's even more motivation to start training harder. So.
What was it like to get your first paycheck from this?
Well, it was exciting, but it went fast because I just straight blew it. I think my first check was like $1,000. And then after, if you become resident, you used to get an extra 500. So I was getting 1,500 at first.
Okay.
So it was going pretty fast. And then I just started managing my money. Then I started getting, like I told you earlier, I started getting gold and bronze and silver overseas. So it started racking up because I was getting the bonuses and I was placing and I was, so it was exciting though. It was motivation.
I get it. I got my first paycheck and it lasted for a second. It's March 1st today. My paycheck's gonna be gone due to rent. So I totally understand. What is a paycheck? It's gone. It is gone. There's nothing.
It's gone before it came.
I know. And it's insane, but what can you do? And I heard you talk about going to the actual Olympics, and it was really interesting because you mentioned the word that it was actually depressing when you were describing it because you weren't allowed to go out. You had to maintain your strength. So tell me a little bit about what was going on emotionally when you get there, you're at the Olympic Games. That's amazing, but you can't, were you able to enjoy it a little bit?
Um, I just want to express the fact that I am grateful for going and, for having the experience and everything. But to be honest, it was depressing for us and the team and everything because, like I said earlier, like all type of sports are there: basketball, volleyball,
Right.
all type of things are there, and they're like a team. So when you're a team, you could do team activities or stuff like that. Like you
Oh,
could
yeah.
practice, you could play basketball and stuff like that. But the boxers, we had to stay off our legs, so we had to go lay down. We hearing people outside playing basketball, learning, new languages, mingling with people, but we
Yeah.
had to stay in our room. Then you had to remember, like, COVID was still going around, so you
Oh,
really
yeah.
couldn't even like mingle with people. So we just really stayed to ourselves and just stayed in our rooms. But um a lot of people had came to the Olympic Training Center before and like told us like, this is a good experience for you guys. Get out there, soak it all in. This is most people don't even get to go to the Olympics. So
Yeah.
take the experience and run with it. But the experience that we had, it was just so different, and
Mm,
it was just like very depressing. Most people was like chilling in like the cafeteria, but as a
mm,
boxer, you have to be a certain weight. So who wants to chill
right.
around food? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was that you can't eat at that. But it was interesting. It was very interesting, and also in the cafeteria they had like I think it was called like around the world. Like they had Asian cuisine, they
Oh,
had
cool.
African food, they had American food. So like it was like
But
a
you
good.
couldn't enjoy any of
I
it.
couldn't experience and for the American food they had burgers and French fries. I'm like,
Shit.
what? But it was just a learning experience, and I'm happy I went. But like I said, it was very challenging.
And you, when it comes to like socializing, are you typically a social person? So we know that you couldn't eat and do everything you want, but to add to it, because if are you more like I'm okay being alone, but or did you crave being around people in that aspect too?
Well, I don't mind being alone because if you think about it, I've been traveling alone since I was
Yeah.
like 14, 15, going to tournaments by myself, especially going overseas. I've been
Mhm.
alone. I just always have my teammates, but I don't mind getting to know new people and learning new things.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand that. It's kind of interesting to find that balance because even in my life, I went from I need people around constantly. That's not the case anymore. So it's
Yeah.
kind of nice to find that balance.
It
And
was,
you, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, 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 go ahead.
No, it was like we were on punishment and we was just looking at the kids play outside like, oh, I wish I can play. It was
I
funny though.
know. Well, you're an active person and everybody else is kind of being active too. And I understand you have to rest, but and how do
Yeah.
you do that too? Because you have to still condition in a certain aspect, but you have to rest at the same time. So how do you find the balance of that?
We just had training condition times, and like if
Uh-huh.
you weren't overweight, you could just stay and chill. But if you were overweight, like 2, 3 pounds, you just had to maintain that weight.
Yeah. And when it comes to weight, and a lot of your interviews, you have to talk about weight and food. And that's definitely something that's important to your job. So when you were younger and having to deal with that, what has your mentality changed with with weight over time? Because I would imagine if you're younger, having to maintain a weight when we don't have to worry about metabolism when we're younger
Yeah.
and you get older and things change. What's been your relationship as far as dealing with weight as your career's continued?
Well, overall, I feel like the food is the most difficult thing for me. Like
Mhm.
I can fight till death, till
Yes.
I can train, but the food is my weakness. I'm a foodie. I love food. But when I was younger, you could, I used to could eat like junk food, like hot
Yeah.
Cheetos, nacho cheese, and all
Yeah.
these chili dog, all this stuff, and still make weight the next day. Now, no, no. So
I,
I'm eating boiled eggs and 2 pieces of turkey bacon. Like it's a strict diet. But if you want to be the best, you got to sacrifice those things.
And that's what's interesting because it sounds so I don't want to say it sounds simple because I definitely respect it. And same thing. I could work out till the cows come home, but I'll come home and I'll eat an extra large pizza. Like
Right.
it's so hard. I cannot find that balance. So
Yes.
like what do you miss the most about food? Being able to just eat whatever you want. What's a specific food you miss the most?
I think I'll say fried foods because those are the first things I cut out. Like, that grease
Mm,
is just a not and it's just no. So, but I eat a lot of like seafood, like fish, like light
okay.
stuff, to be on my stomach, and a lot of like vegetables, raw vegetables, or cook slightly, don't want to overcook them to cook the nutrients out.
Hmm.
But salads, the usual. And sometimes they do get boring. So I
Yeah.
like to try like extra sauces like ranch or I don't know. I don't know. I just try to make new concoctions to just keep
That's
going.
good. That's good. You have variety is the spice of life, and even in your
Yeah.
situation where you have to be cognitive, I told that's amazing. Good for you. That's the biggest challenge for, in my eyes, watching what you have to do.
Yes.
And when it comes to your family, you're so blessed because you mentioned your dad. You also have your brothers who helped you out with training. What's the benefit of having them in close quarters with you, supporting you throughout your career?
Well, I think the biggest benefit would just probably just be surrounded by it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? If you're surrounded by positive people or you're surrounded by, people that do the same thing as you in your career, it's going to be easier for you to go. You know what I mean? So, for
Yeah.
example, if I spend a night over my friend's house and she's not an athlete, she can sleep in. You know what I mean? She don't have to go work out at 10 a.m. And then that kind of makes me want to, I am tired. Let me sleep in with you. Da, da, da. So if you're surrounded by it, we waking up at 5:30, we're gonna go run. It's normal, it's
Right.
routine. You know what I mean? So that was the biggest benefit for me, and it made it easier for me that everybody's doing it. I just don't. I'm not thinking that as a punishment. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
routine. We're working up at 5:30, running, then coming back, taking a shower, then going to school. After you go to school at 3:30, come back, eat. At 5:30, we're going back to practice. Like, yeah, like as a kid. So
Yeah.
doing this as a kid, it just trained me to, get used to it and get to that next level as an adult.
And one of your brothers mentioned that he wanted to push you to overcome your fears, and he talked about some of the training methods you would do. You'd like take you to the park, you'd have chains all over you, and you go running. But what were some of the fears he was talking about? If he said that you were overcoming some fears, if you are going to a park and holding chains and running.
Right. I just think that he was just trying to show me that anything is possible. Like, for example, like if I'm holding 10-pound chains running, what I mean, tired, exhausted, that the finish line is coming soon, just keep pushing. If you never give up, you can always succeed. You know what I mean? Another thing that he probably mentioned will probably be my confidence. Like, I was so used to having my family in my corner, and that just motivated me, like, yes, the
Mhm.
Jones, let's get it. Nobody can beat us. But when you go overseas, you don't have your family. You have
Yeah.
new coaches that have to learn you all over again. But I had to learn and realize, like, it's all still in me. That's how I got on this team. So, if I just do what I've been doing, I could succeed. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
just had to learn how to put that in my boxing and not let, coaches or anyone change me. You know what I mean?
Was that easy for you to do? Because I feel like we live in a society where we're constantly influenced by other people.
Right. At first it was not easy. No, I
Mm.
think my first 2 years on the team, I was I just had to find myself. I was off. I kept losing. You know what I mean? Then when I found that spark, it was over with. Nobody could stop me.
Mm. What do you mean by the spark? What was that?
Like when I start believing in myself and
Mm.
digging down deep within and remember what I was doing at home is how I got here. So don't change. You know what I mean?
And it's interesting you mentioned that because another thing that you talked about was growing up, you were bullied in school, and you mentioned you were bullied because you were different. And I feel like it's such a counterintuitive thing. You're different because you're yourself, and that's
Right.
very difficult to do, especially at a young age. Why do you think people thought you were different?
I think people thought I was different because okay, so like I said, my family was in boxing. So like I went to school with my teammates. Like other people from out of town would come to Ohio and train with us. So they would have to go to school with us during the school year. So we had out of towners with us. I had my siblings with me. We were jumping out of a big van, coming in a big van. We had our workout clothes in our book bags, and we had a packed lunch every day. So they like, these weirdos, what are they doing? They jumping out of a van. It's 15 of them, and you know what I mean? And then after that, I was different physically. Like I
Mhm.
was more strong. I was bulked. Girls in high school, they want to be cute and and I would
Tell
just
me, yeah.
I just yeah, I wasn't like that. So I think that's why people used to call me like, oh, she looked like a man, da 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 da. Because I was stronger than, an
Yeah.
average kid. So
Yeah.
but overall, it started as time started going by. They start seeing me on the news. They start seeing me break records. They start seeing the principals start announcing my name. O'Shea Jones has won the national. Da, da, da. So now they all over me. But
Oh
I
yeah,
was
they
just a
love you
man. I
now.
was
They
just a
love
man.
you now. Well,
Yeah.
what did that feel like for the first time to go from these people? And then it might have been different, but it's different. It's a different kind of attention. When did you notice that shift?
Well, like I said, like when everybody started wanting to be my friend, and I started, going crazy on social media, they start sharing me, they start supporting me. But that's another thing that I wanted to tell people, like just because you're different, like right now, you know what I mean? It'll change over time. Like you will
Mhm.
succeed, you know what I mean? So don't never give up because someone is just picking or someone making fun of you. Keep going and keep grinding, and
Mhm.
over time you don't have any choice but to succeed, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I think what really helped me was like my teammates and my family and stuff. I had people and loved ones, like surrounded by me, and the people doing the same thing as me. So I wasn't just the only one, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
some people don't even have that, and I know it'd be 10 times harder without them.
I love that. And you talked about you kind of got bullied for being a man, and it's something that I'm really excited to talk about. And if I'm stereotyping, tell me to fuck off. I'm totally okay with that. But you're so feminine. You preach your femininity and you show it on your Instagram. You're decked out in like your low cut tops. You look gorgeous. Your makeup's all done.
Thank you.
But you're welcome. But you're a female boxer, which in the stereotypes will say you need to be more masculine. So why is it important to show off your femininity and stay true to who you are? Because that's who O'Shea is, right?
Right. Well, it's important to me because Um, what a lot of people don't know about me is that I'm really feminine. Like I don't like I'm really like gentle. I might look aggressive or come off like aggressive if I don't know you or anything, but when you get to know me, I'm deep down like I'll give you the shirt off my back. Like
Mhm.
I'm not huh all the time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's just another person in the ring. That's just my job. But like during the day, like I'm really goofy, I'm loving, I'm nice. And I feel like every time, like I'm in training camp, like look at my hair, like like I
Yeah.
have to. It's my job. I have to train, and I feel like I always look kind of like masculine when I'm in camp and everything like that. So when I have off time, or if I have like time to get ready and transform, I want to do that just to show people like just because it's a masculine sport, you don't have to be masculine all the time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I also feel that if I think a lot of people feel like it's two type of boxers. It's boxers that's female boxers that act masculine and look masculine like a
Mhm.
man, and it's that's good, or it's female boxers that's too pretty, got the look but don't
Mm.
have the skills. And I feel like I can do both. You know what I mean? I don't have to choose for one. I feel like I'm the total package in one.
Has that always been the case? Because I feel like when you're younger, we're still trying to identify ourselves. And I played baseball up until forever, and I was scared to be girly, truly, because I didn't think that they would look at me as an honest
Right.
baseball player. So when did you kind of embrace that? Were you always like, I'm going to be girly, but also kind of a tomboy vibe, or did you have to kind of transition to that over time?
I think the tomboy vibe just came naturally just because
Mm,
like I'm a fighter, and
right.
I think it just came out. But like if I'm just not training or just on the regular, I'm a straight girl. I don't know. It's hard. It's just like I
But I
try
think
to
that that's okay. If you can't define it, that just means you're staying true to who you are, and that's okay.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm just very versatile. I can do both, I don't mind, but I am, straight a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, and I think that that's cool, and just being able to show that off. And what about, because you said that you were going off on social media. What has your relationship been with social media since, your kind of rise to stardom, getting all this attention? How have you embraced it?
Well, I try to be, positive and everything. Ever since I got with overtime, they've been pushing me, put me more
Hmm.
out there in the public eye. And, with being in the public eye, it comes with good and the bad. But I feel like the good definitely outweigh the bad. You have those little trolls every now and then, but I feel like I motivate more people than the bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What kind of messages have you gotten from people who have proved that you have been motivating to them?
Well, I had a couple of like mothers come to me and
Oh.
wrote me and asked like, my daughter, she is obsessed with you. She want to be you for Halloween. She do that, she do that. And I
Halloween
actually,
costume? That's huge.
yeah,
That's
I know.
huge.
And I actually met with them and we did a news article and everything.
Aw.
And people all the time, mothers, people from overseas, like,
Yeah.
hey, it's me from Peru. Just want to tell you I love you. You're doing your thing, never stop. Like I always get messages like all the time. I had a lady inbox me the other day about her daughter, and she had recorded her sparring, and I just gave her some tips, some little things that
Oh,
she could do
wow.
better with sparring. You know what I mean? So just little things like that, it just motivate me to keep going.
What's it like to get international attention? Because you're from Ohio, where it's a certain type of way,
Right.
and then you have somebody from Peru saying like, "I love
Right.
you." What's it like to be known internationally?
I feel like it's amazing, but I feel like when I went to Peru and I got gold, I was the first 152-pounder to ever get gold at the Pan American Games. I feel like my celebration after I win, I feel like that really drew attention to everybody. So
Oh,
like,
okay.
my little celebrations, I used to dance
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, just to get, just to express how happy and grateful I am just to be there, just making my mark.
And I love that because you also have a very unique, when you do your entrances too, you have dancers, you have the whole shebang. Why is that important? Because I love that you have this, there's the pizzazz there, there's you, and you show like you've got some swag, you got all of that going on, but you can back it up with talent. So why is it important to have an entrance like you do?
I just wanted to show everyone that, I just wanted to be different. Like I said, I just
Mhm.
wanted to make my mark. I didn't want to follow like everybody else. Like I said, I was different in school. I just always wanted to be, just always wanted to be different. Just look
Yeah.
that different. Just I always just wanted to be one step higher than the average person, you know what I mean? And I just put the work in and, hopefully it go through, it worked.
And when it comes to, your wins and losses, one thing that you mentioned was your losses are always lessons. What are the lessons you learn in some of your losses?
Like in the amateurs, like I was saying earlier, I think my losses is were when I wasn't believing in myself, or
Mm.
I wasn't fighting like me. I wasn't fighting my fight. I was too nervous. I wasn't confident. I was scared. I didn't have my family. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I didn't have my normal coaches that I had for 10 years, and then you go overseas and you got other people telling you to do other things that you never even heard of. You know what I mean? So I wasn't staying true to myself. I was trying to fight other people fight. So that's what I learned. Like if something is not working, go back to square one, go back to your roots, go back to where you came from.
And is that easy? Like the moment you finish a loss, like what are your steps essentially? Because we have a loss. Do you immediately go into the mentality of like, let's do this again? Do you need like an hour to just, decompress, or what's that strategy?
Yeah, I'm really emotional. So everybody always
Mm.
like, you're so emotional, you're so emotional. Here, girl, you're so emotional. But I'm really emotional. Like everything I do, like I told you, I've been doing this for since I was like 9 or 10. I'm 26 now. So like
Mhm.
everything I do, I put my all into it. And
Mhm.
so like if I lose, it's like a heartbreak for me. Like it's really hard on me. Like I just want to be, alone for a little bit. I get depressed, you know what I mean? But I don't even like thinking about it, but yeah, like I
Yeah.
need time. I really need time to like, register what just happened. What did I do wrong? What can I do better? And I need like a couple of days off, probably like 3 days off, like just
Mhm.
from not even wanting to thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
train 2.5 months for a fight and it don't go your way. So you like, what am I? Is all this for no reason? Like, what did I get out
Mm.
of this? Like, but overall, it's experience. Just keep doing it over and over and over. So win, lose, or draw, you getting experience. You're getting better overall.
And is that kind of a routine now? I'm not saying you lose a lot, obviously, but when you finish a fight and you know that these steps are going to happen, is that easy for you to embrace, knowing you're going to go through the motions or the emotions in this case?
I feel like yeah, I feel like now I have matured way more, you know what I mean? But I haven't lost in like I haven't lost
Yeah.
in a long time,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? I feel like if I did, it would be heartbreaking because I obviously wouldn't be undefeated, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like my bounce back could be stronger.
And we're going to stop talking about losses now. You're right. I shouldn't even brought that up. But you
That's
do
fine.
have all these belts that you've won over time. Is there a specific belt, a specific win that sticks out to you the most?
No, not really. It's so crazy because like I was so used to just in the amateurs, I was so used to just winning, 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 like
Mm,
all these trophies and all these belts. When I get the belt, I not saying I'm not grateful, but when I get the
right.
belt, I just be like, what's next? Can I get another one? Like
I
what
love
do I
that.
do? You know what I mean? So I don't praise just one thing because I feel like you could always be better. You could always, elevate.
And is that something you also embrace? Because sometimes people want to say, just stop and smell the roses. It's something that you hear a lot. But if you want to get better, do you still take a step back and realize like you have come a long way?
I'm really hard on myself, so I'm really hard on myself. So like I probably step back like after I win, I probably take like a week or two off and be like, wow, like I'm really, this is really but I'm snapping back and I'm getting right back to it, I
Mm.
just don't, we made it. No.
Yeah,
Cause
yeah, yeah.
somebody else is working while you sleep, baby. Somebody else is, in that gym. Probably with my picture on there, probably beating it. Shit. No,
Probably.
okay, we gotta clap. So you
And
always
I love that. I love that though. And I feel is that how you've been from the beginning? Just like, okay, we got it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. But you also have to rest sometimes too. So is your mind just constantly on the next thing, or do you have to kind of train yourself to chill a little bit?
yeah, I feel like you do have to train yourself to chill a little bit. Like, people still work out like on their off days, but
Yeah.
me personally, like I take that time off because I know what I put my body through
Right.
those last 2 months. Like, if you still working out while you on vacation or on your time off, then you didn't work hard enough in your camp because
Yeah.
your body should be brutally beat. Like you should be a you should be a vampire resting,
Right.
like, you know what I mean? So
And it's cool because I know your conditioning is very important to you, and that's part of why like you're so good with these combinations, and those add up and ultimately help you in your success. So does your conditioning, any of that, stand out differently from perhaps others? Because that's certainly something that makes you stand out to me from what I've noticed.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like conditioning definitely stand out, but I feel like naturally it's my heart, like my
Mm,
drive, you know what I mean, me not wanting to lose, me wanting to be very competitive, me wanting to win and be better than the next person. So I feel like that inside is what really push out that, you know what I mean. I feel like some people have it and some people don't, you know what I mean, because if the technique don't work, if whatever your coach is in the corner telling you don't work, what else do you have? You have this. Like, are you going to break? Are you going to
yeah,
fail? You know what I mean? Or are you going to keep going and keep trying? So I feel like my heart is what really like define me from other people.
I definitely agree with that. And we obviously you're competitive inside the ring. What are you competitive with outside of the ring?
Well, outside of the ring, I feel like my siblings and my teammates, I just always wanted to be better than them. Like my little
Okay,
brother,
yes, of course,
he
yes.
used to he used to like wrestle and he used to play football and I couldn't do those things and I'm like,
Mm.
how can I be better if I can't even play? So like he started boxing and then after that I started boxing and we used to spar. It was just like competitive with everything, like who can eat the fastest, like crazy
Mm,
stuff,
yes.
like just competitive.
And I'm glad you mentioned the wrestling, because I think you mentioned once that your dad didn't want you wrestling because you'd have to wrestle against boys, right?
Yeah, he didn't want me to wrestle.
Sorry.
It's okay. He didn't want me to wrestle like competitively, but I did practice
Oh,
with the
okay.
guys, like my teammates and everything. But he didn't want me to wrestle competitively because he didn't know the boys, and he was,
Gotcha.
I guess boys want to get a free touch and stuff like
Well,
that.
they
So
don't outgrow that. So that's
right. So I would wrestle. I would be at all the I would be at all the like practices and wrestling schedules of the wrestling events and everything, but I just wouldn't compete, like
right. And
competitive. Yeah.
yeah, and it's interesting because we talk about sportsmanship, and for each sport, it's differently. And sportsmanship, when it comes to boxing, especially, or any one-on-one sport, you'll spar, you'll go up against each other, and then you hug afterwards. How do you do that? That's the easiest way for me to ask that, because you go into it and it's intense and there's a competition there, and I know there's a family aspect to the sport. How are you able to balance that?
Wow, it took me so long to balance that, like especially in the amateurs, because like as a kid, you still learning how to like control your emotions. So when you're
Yeah,
fighting, the common emotion will be like, angry. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
like you know what I mean? Hurt her, she's hurting you. You know what I mean? But when you get to that next level, that's when you really can establish like, okay, I can't be angry all the time. I gotta stay focused and calm and relaxed and think about my punches and think how I could set her up, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
to win the fight. So a lot of people get frustrated when they can't hit the other person, and the frustration, you know what I mean, don't let them think, in the right mindset, so they will lose the fight. If you get frustrated in the fight, you're 75%
Mm.
chance that you're going to lose the fight because you're not focused.
And it's also interesting because the sportsmanship aspect, you talked about it too. You don't want to do any cheap shots either, and so that's always an aspect to it. And the ego in me would say go off. So why
Right.
how are you able to reel that in too?
Well, yeah, I don't wanna never cheat, but like for example, if like I think my last, not this fight, my fight before last, I think my opponent, like I was punching her and she turned. And I really waited till she turned around, then hit her again. So
Yeah.
it's just like, but when she was turned around, it was like, Shay, go, 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 go. Like, I'm like, it's not in me. Like, she's not even ready. You know what I mean?
Oh
But
yeah.
I have a big um debate about my, I think it was that my fight before like 2 fights ago.
Mhm.
So the ref, he had broke us up. So when he broke us up, he was like, okay, break. He was talking to us, when he talked to us, he was just like, keep the punches up, and then he was just like, go. But
Got it.
as a ref, you're supposed to be like fight, like box. So all he said was go. So I guess she was still looking at him. Then when she looked at me, I was just like boom, boom. So it's a big debate. Like, was that a clean shot or was that like, you know what I mean? But in reality, though, like your coaches always tell you, like stay ready. Like, you
Yeah.
always have to stay ready. Like,
Yeah.
so it's really not a cheap shot because you're supposed to be protecting yourself at all times in the ring.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, for
it was just
sure.
a big debate, with the on the overtime platform. They were saying, was it a cheap shot? But the ref said go, and I just went. You know what I mean? So it wasn't my fault. She wasn't. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Walk me through the day of that you have a match coming up. What is your routine from the time you wake up into right ahead of time?
Okay, the day of the fight, we had just weighed in last night. So
Mhm.
we're waking up, we're getting a big breakfast, rehydrating,
You don't have to
drinking a
weigh
lot of
yourself after that. Let's
right.
go.
That's my favorite part when I get to eat.
Yes.
So we got a big breakfast. We don't have to worry about the weight. We rehydrating. We're eating lots of fruit, watermelon, getting the water back in, just hydrating. But it's really boring because all you doing is really laying down and staying off your legs. You got a
Yeah.
big fight. You need to rest your body. You know what I mean? You need all the energy you can get. So you really just, just stretching, relaxing, just lounging around all day until it's time. Then when it's time, you get to the venue, stretch, warm up, put your fit on, probably hit the mitts a little bit, listen to music, get in your zone, your
Mm.
favorite music, you know what I mean? It's really I try to think of it like as a normal day, like going in the gym, like I'm about to spar, because if you thinking like, oh, this is world champion WBC, you be nervous, you be
Yeah.
scared, you know what I mean? And you don't want to fight different because you're scared, you know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
nervous. You
That's
want to,
interesting.
you want to stay to your roots, remain calm and focused.
What are your music choices on that day?
Uh, I'm sorry, but people be saying they like jazz and da 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 da.
Really?
I like drill. I want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you so like I just need to get in that zone, like you know what I mean. I don't want to hear walks in the park. I want to hear like you mess with me, I'm gonna get you. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Well,
that's
how did you hear that other people were when you first heard that other people were listening to jazz on their days to fight? What, like, were you like WT, like what the fuck, like what is that, like?
I no, because I heard a couple people, they like jazz, they like smooth, they like calming
Okay.
music. You know what I mean? I kind of get it, like
Yeah.
because you want to stay relaxed. You know what I mean? You don't want to go to, but I like to just rock. I like to just I like rap. I like hip hop. Don't get me wrong, I do like those soft things, but maybe when I'm getting a massage, not when I'm about to go to battle. You know what I mean?
Jazz
Like,
stresses me out so much. I can't
yeah,
jazz. Like, there's like five different things going on. Like
yeah,
I
like
go crazy. Like I'm like, there's nothing. What is, like, I would probably actually, that might be good for me. I'm just so frustrated. And again,
yeah.
I would just go crazy. It's like, I
Or
don't know how
some
people do that.
Yeah, or some people like listen to like waterfalls and the nature and the bird. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
But
Okay. Good for
I
them. To
need
each
some
their own. To each
I
their own.
I need some motivation though. I need some da, 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 da.
Yeah, we're like this. I love that for you.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like there's nothing better than like the right song, whether I mean, obviously I've never been in a boxing match, but even if I have like a great interview to do, if I'm listening to the right song, like I'm about to fucking nail it. Like it's about to be
Right.
amazing. I get you.
Yes.
Last couple before I let you go, have we, because I cover sports for a living, have we as a society, and you can call me the media if you want, or as a reporter, what have you, have we as a society appreciated or embraced female boxing?
Ah, ah. I feel like overall, I feel like female boxing is evolving. I feel like we're getting more out there, but in the beginning, no, no,
Okay.
no way, no way. But I feel like it is getting so much better, and I'm excited. And even when I retire or when I go, I feel like it'll be 10 times more better for the next generation. So I like to see it. It's like everybody is getting more into it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because some people sometimes they be like, "Oh, the girl's fighting, turn it off." You know what I mean? And now they're
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, that girl hitting like that. I want to watch
Yeah.
her." You know what I mean? So it is evolving, and I'm definitely excited to see like what's next for women boxing. Like hopefully we can get the pay rate up. Hopefully we can get, instead of 2 minutes, we can get 3 minutes like the boys and kind of get paid like them. You know what I mean? We're doing the same exact thing. And we women, like we have, they come from us. We have babies, so we should be getting. You know what I
I'm
mean?
telling you. We do
Like
all they do. We do all they do, but we create life and we do it in heels.
right,
Like they always
right,
forget. They always forget.
right. We
Yeah.
could bleed for a week without dying. Like we are
So
so.
we are like, and they like, I just like, and we like, we're crazy, like in the best ways. Like I don't
Yeah.
know why they think that they can like walk all over us when we're always like, there's all like, don't mess with us. It just
That's what
drives
I'm
me
saying.
crazy.
Like without us, it wouldn't even be them. Like you know what I mean? Like they would never even be here. So I feel like we need to get praised a lot more.
I agree. And, on that same note, just like women's sports overall, how can we just as a society, and this is beyond just the media, but just, fans and everything, how could we support women's sports a lot better?
I feel like just getting like more TV time, because I feel like with like women's sports goes on, but I don't feel like they highlight it like on ESPN. You don't
Yeah.
really see a highlight of a girl, you know what I mean, dunking, or you know what I mean, or doing a cool trick. Like they prioritize the men more than the women.
Mm,
And I feel like if we was to get the spotlight a little bit more, then a lot of people would be like, okay, this is normal. They not used to seeing us. So you can't even blame them. They not used to seeing us do the things that the boys do, because we don't get the TV time. We don't get the
right.
exposure. You know what I mean? So if they was to see us, maybe they would like it and be like, oh, okay, girls can do this too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Because you're doing the exact same thing. It's just they're
The,
not getting as much
the
attention.
exact same thing. The exact
Mhm.
same thing, and no real like exposure. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if we was to get that, it will even motivate the younger generation coming up, and we can have, you know what I mean, more and more and
Yeah.
more and more. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like more exposure for women's sport, period, not just boxing, for women's sport.
And what was the biggest difference? Because you said when you first started out, there wasn't a lot of support in female boxing, and now there is. When did you kind of notice a shift and there was more support for you?
Well, I kind of noticed when at first when I was amateur, it was only three weight classes, three
Mm,
women's weight classes. Then they added two more, and now it's just like it's just getting bigger. With three weight classes, it's just, three people just, competing for that. So now that there's two
right.
more weight classes, I don't know how many it is now because I'm not amateur anymore, but I
Mhm.
think they added some or changed it or whatever the case may be. But five people, you know what I mean? Three is more than five. So,
Yeah.
it's just adding and adding and adding.
Yeah.
It's just getting better and bigger for women.
No, and I love that. And I feel like you definitely you need a platform for sure. And I feel like you maybe one day you'll get into broadcasting and get and like just be on the sidelines doing all this and talking about it. Cause I feel like you would do a fantastic job with that.
Thank you.
You're
I never
welcome.
got I never got the chance, but hopefully I will soon.
If you need me for anything, you just let me know. I got you. Like I can help you with the things that I know as far as broadcasting.
Yeah,
But
I appreciate that.
but thank you so much for your time. This is wonderful.
Thank you for having me. I wish I could come back soon. Let me know.
Definitely. That was Olympic boxer Oshae Jones. It's her awaited return to OTX against Sonia Dreiling in a women's bout coming up on March 29th. And make sure you're checking all of that out on the DAZN app. And thanks so much for the conversation. I think it's so important for us to be supporting women in sports. I am such a hypocrite with that. As you guys know, I'm hardcore MLB, and that needs to change. I want to be a better person. I couldn't tell you a lot about what's going on in women's sports because, quite frankly, I don't pay attention and I need to change that. So I'm very thankful for her for stopping by and make sure I'll give a little bit more attention to those who are putting the exact same amount of effort into their sport, into what they're doing in the ring as the men. So thankful for Oshae for stopping by. She's fantastic. Make sure you're watching her upcoming fight. And thanks for stopping by, short and to the point, for Awful Announcing in the Comeback. This is Jessica Kleinschmidt, and we'll see you next time.
Want even more short and to the point? Follow Jessica at KleinschmidtJD and head over to thecomeback.com and awfulannouncing.com.